Brian Amuai. This is Trending News. Engage us on our socials at Amuai Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. Tell us exactly where you are watching us from as we bring you up to date with the news making headlines across the country. Let's start from a political front. Azimio maintains that their planned 3-day anti-government protest is still on, despite the withdrawal of security of their leaders. Now addressing a press conference on Tuesday at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation in Nairobi, the leaders say they will not be cowed into calling off the demonstrations. The leaders also accuse the government of targeting them using a militia group that intends to attack them as they take to the streets.
Meeting. It came up with a clear command, control, funding, and mobilization of resources and people structures for purposes of carrying out genocide. Its resolutions are already being implemented in various parts of the country, where some governors are mobilizing people to counter protesters. It is also taking the shape of greater surveillance being conducted around our leaders' homes and offices, which are being surveyed by people in unmarked vehicles. What RUTO decreed in State House last week is part of what is going on in Sondu, Kericho, and Kisii, Kericho boundaries, where an ethnic militia is being armed against local communities. The militia has protection of the police. The events in Sondu are expected to be replicated in other parts of the country in coming days. We further take note that although Kenya is not at war, all police and other security officers have been recalled from leave to deal with protesters. The provisions of the Constitution on the right to protest notwithstanding, RUTO is at war, not just with Azimio, but with the entire Kenyan population, especially those who do not support him. We appeal to our neighbors in the region not to join RUTO's war against Kenyans. Our neighbors must not supply RUTO with tear gas and ammunition to fight Kenyans. Our crime is only that we have challenged RUTO to bring down the cost of food, reconstitute the IEBC in a way that includes all players, also to audit the last year's presidential elections, and to respect political parties. As leaders,
now, Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Wesley ROTICH has called on Azimio leaders to call off protests in order to give Kenya Kwanza government an opportunity to deliver their development agenda. ROTICH further added that it was so soon to judge President Ruto's performance, as it is barely a year since he took over power.
Brothers and sisters, it is time that we think about Kenya, we think about our own, and we actually transform our country together. The time that we are wasting on maandamano is enough to actually transform our country. I want to request you, before you go to the street and before you declare any war, before you just stamp and say that you want to finish everyone, before you just stamp and say we are declaring war on everyone, including the police, I want to request you to come to Elgeyo Marakwet, to come to Kerio Valley, to come to Baringo, and to come to Turkana. Why? Because we want to communicate to you in simple terms why conflict has never given anyone a trophy, why conflict has never helped anyone, why conflict is never rewarding, and why even in a state of war, everyone loses. The only trophy that we have, that we will see, you will come and see for yourself when you visit, is graves littered everywhere, and children, women, and communities suffering after they have lost their loved ones. The cost of living is, yes, very high. In Elgeyo Marakwet, of course, we are not encouraging any maandamano because we have chosen to be a solution. We didn't choose to complain. We chose to go to the farms and farm so that we can feed the entire Kenya and reduce the cost of living. I am an economist. Nowhere else in the world has a cost of living been addressed by maandamano. It has only been addressed by deliberate production. Our young people, for the first time, our president is employing 55,000 teachers in 1 year. 30,000 early this year, another 20,000. That means we are doing 55,000 in 1 year. Nowhere else, no time since 1963 has such an employment been done. That means he is creating hope for our unemployed young people. And I want to request our opposition. Yes, Kenya has been wandering in the wilderness, and the entire opposition leadership has been part and parcel of the mess that Kenya is. All of them. Actually, Kalonzo has been a deputy president.
Now, the Law Society of Kenya, led by President Eric Theuri, is now calling on the government to observe law and order, insisting on the right to protest peacefully and unarmed, as enshrined in the Constitution. Now, Theuri further says there is need for police to take all reasonable measures to protect life and property against destruction during the anti-government protests scheduled for tomorrow.
Concerned by the widespread cases of violence and allegations of unnecessary or disproportionate use of violence, including the use of firearms by the police during the recent protests. There are reports of a number of people who have been killed and a number have been injured in the demonstrations. The right to protest plays a crucial role in any democratic society. It provides a platform for people to express their views, call for change, and influence government policy. It is a right that is guaranteed under Article 37 of the Kenyan Constitution, which provides that every person has the right, peacefully and unarmed, to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and to present petitions to public authorities. This right is also guaranteed under regional and international human rights instruments that have been ratified by Kenya, including Article 11 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, famously known as the Banjul Charter, and Article 21 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. The security that has been provided to leaders of the opposition, some of whom enjoy security by virtue of the positions that they hold, it will be a height of irresponsibility. It demonstrates that the police service has taken sides in a political contest. It is an act that is grossly irresponsible. We call on members of the public to go out and protest, but to do so peacefully and to go out unarmed. We call on the police to provide security.
Right, now moving on, Nakuru members of County Assembly have raised concerns concerning NAIVASHA level 4 hospital rather. Now this is after a report revealed that over 20 newborns lose their lives every month. Now according to Bernard Warui, the hospital superintendent, the facility was facing tens of challenges with suppliers being owed over 300 million Kenya shillings.
Hii umeona hiyo deni ina affect kiasi cha kwamba hata wodi za wamama unapata ya kwamba vitu basics, sukari hakuna, koko hakuna. Kwa hivyo unaona ya kwamba hiyo ni hatari, na when a hospital is only surviving with FIF, unaona ya kwamba if that money is right kidogo, unaona kuna mambo ambayo yataafektiwa na pesa kukosekana. Alafu tukaona hiyo kuhusu facilities ambazo hazina machines unakuta zingine ni improvise, zingine ni moja, ati kifunga utaona ya kwamba inapotea, hususan kule kwa watoto ambao tumepata kuna moja, na unaona fatality ni between 10 and 25. Hao ni watoto wengi sana wakiaga hata kwa mwaka. Kwa hivyo ukiangalia upande huu wa watoto hakuna pahali pengine kuna incubator. Sasa ukisikia kwamba incubator ni bili tu functional, wale watoto wako hapo wanashare 4 na 3, unaona ya kwamba hata hizo communicable diseases zinaweza kuwa nyingi. Ukisikia ya kwamba hospitali has deni ya 300 million, unashindwa ya kwamba kwani ilikuwa inauza nini? Unaona 300 million si shilingi mbili, and the 300 million imeaccrue only in 2 years. Therefore, I think whoever was here needs to do some forensic auditing to jua ya kwamba how comes the hospital in 2 years has accrued a debt of 300 million.
Katika laboratory, na unajua laboratory is the heart of any facility of this kind. So hiyo ninaomba tu gavana, hata kama ni kuingia ataingia kwa mfuko, kwanza atuamshie hizo machines, sababu watu wetu wanatumwa nje kwenda kupata services, na hiyo ndio imekuwa challenge sana.
Maternity tumeona shida yenye iko hiyo, tutaongea na governor. Kama mama tutajua venye tunaweza kuwa na short term remedies zenye zitasaidia kama ni nursery na huko kwingine, ndio wamama wetu hata wakipata watoto wanaweza kuweza kupata chochote wanahitaji. Watoto wakiwa nursery wapate all that is required. Tuko hapa kukodem, tuko hapa kuangalia na kutafuta suluhu. So as we leave this place, we have taken note of everything that is lacking in that department.
Now, Masai Girls Chief Principal Cecilia Teeka has applauded parents in Narok County for prioritizing the education of the girl child education as opposed to how the situation was before. Now, Teeka's sentiments come in the wake of the reduction of teenage pregnancy cases among schoolgirls in the county. She further urged parents to take care of the girls and offer them guidance and counseling when necessary.
Masai Girls is an extra county school, though the majority are from the locality. So we have majority of the girls, like 90% are Masais. So clearly the school has got 1,600 students, as we report, girls. And as I've said, most of them are from Narok County. So clearly that's an indication that the Masais and if Narok County have embraced education. It's no longer about coercing them to bring students to school. The fathers particularly have paid much attention to education of the girl child. We no longer have cases of pregnancy as it used to be. The county has changed, and currently we can report almost 0 cases of pregnancy in a term. So this shows that the community is ready to change and embrace education, because that's the way to go. Every person is directed that way. We appreciate that a girl child like Soipan from the locality has brought this change. She's a role model to the community from Leshota, a small village. So that girl is given hope that they can also make it from the small village of the farthest end of Narok County that borders Tanzania, Oldergesi, Loita. We have girls from those areas. This is an indication that education is on another level. We have several girls who are being sponsored by Mama County. So as a role model of the county, and our MP for Narok North is also a woman, clearly this shows that women are empowered. So they are a motivation to the society and the girl child of the Maasai.
Now, thousands of women in ISIOLO County are now set to benefit from the free cervical and breast cancer screening and diagnosis, including treatment, if one is diagnosed with the disease. Now, speaking at the Bulapesa dispensary, ISIOLO Governor spouse Habiba Guyo called upon all women in the county to take advantage of the free program and turn up for screening, while putting emphasis on the fact that many have lost their lives due to the disease.
Kwa hivyo wamama wenzangu, msione kansa ni kitu imestikiwa kwa mtu. Kansa inaweza tibiwa. Kansa pia iko na vaccine. Kwa wasichana wetu wadogo wenye umri wa tuseme miaka 12 kwenda juu, kuna vaccine. Na si mbaya ukidungwa hiyo vaccine, ni kama venye watoto wanapelekangwa clinic, mnadungwa measles, TB, kuna vaccine pia ya kansa. Kwa hivyo mimi nawahisi kama mama wenzenyu, tungangane, tuweze kupimwa, tujue ni nani ako nayo na ni nani hana. Na ukiwa nayo, kama unaogopa kusema mbele ya public, nifuate mimi, kwa sababu ukipatikana nayo leo, utaanzishwa matibabu leo na governor atasimama na nyinyi mpaka mwisho wa matibabu. Usiogope ati nikipatikana nayo nitakufa nayo, mimi ni maskini. Tuko na baba yetu, governor yetu mpendwa, ambaye ameniambia in case kwa hii process, kwa hii safari, mkipata mama ako nayo, matibabu ianze na akatiwe kadi ya NHIF aendelee na matibabu. Na msiogope kupimwa, my community, msiogope kupimwa. Cancer si death sentence. Sawa? Kwa hayo machache tupange line. Mimi nimepimwa.
Bitok Julius says, if you hold this country so dear as you purport, your children should lead in the front, addressing the issue to do with demonstrations that have been called for by the Azimio coalition. Dennis Kipiegon says, God, no demonstrations tomorrow, no shedding of blood, let there be peace in our country in Jesus' name. And just people calling on the leaders to make sure that their children are on the front line when it comes to these demonstrations. Okay, somebody else is here very excited, talking about it's a holiday the whole of this week. I do believe that. And, oh no, he wants a holiday next week. So after having protests from tomorrow all the way to Friday, he wants consistency. So from Monday all the way to Friday next week, it's that. All right. Thank you so much for making time for this program at this particular hour. The details of these particular stories will be coming your way in our subsequent bulletins. That is at 7 p.m. on Lookuptv and at 9 p.m. on the Bottom Line KE tonight, where also we'll be having a conversation on the way forward when as far as the protests are concerned. We've seen a lot of people talking about the use of force, right to protest, and also just abuse of human rights. We'll be getting into that conversation and with me later on the Bottom Line KE. So make sure that you join us at that particular hour for that conversation. You do not want to miss it, right? Do have yourselves a lovely afternoon, and I believe it's evening, so lovely evening. On behalf of everyone that made this one a success at this hour, I do want to thank you so much